everybody begins to understand it will watch the dog, and there's a great difference there. Because, I mean, I watch the dog because I'm interested in the dog.
Well, right, okay. Okay, yes, by all means, come back in, Lindsay.
If that's the case, but this talk about concern for the hare makes me nauseous. If that's the case, how come when there's a kill at Altcar, the crowd cheer? Because they absolutely love
the cheer for ignorant backers of the other horses left standing.
You know, I'm very glad, John.
Ignorant people like you.
I'm very glad, John. You've answered a question that's rattled through my head in this studio. You are as daft as you look. I also have a challenge as well, because whenever anybody talks about the sport aspect, they always make out that Jim and my sport is macrame or something like that. I raised £4,000.
Ludo, I think they said, didn't
Ludo. I raised £4,000 to take you people on by climbing the Eiger. I have a challenge now, right? I'll take you up there. It doesn't involve...
I'm not climbing the Eiger
It doesn't involve slaughtering innocent animals.
Well,
hang on. In danger up the Eiger with you.
An essential...
An endangered species.
An essential piece of equipment may be brown underpants for you.
I don't think anybody interferes with your skill, do they?
About your level.
Well, first of all, let me introduce you to John Lees.
But let's face it, mankind has always fed on other animals. And if one goes back through the history of mankind, hunting has always been a basic part of human life.
We don't eat fox, though, do we?
Well, that's right. But then you see, the fox is the... I can applaud that. The fox, though, is perhaps, after mankind, one of the most successful predators.
So if we don't kill it,
actually,
nobody else will.
yes, and the fox is at the head of its the animal kingdom in the wild animal kingdom in England. It's the most aggressive and the most successful wild animal that we have. And if mankind doesn't control foxes, then I'm afraid there will be far too many wild foxes, and there will be far too much of the other wildlife destroyed. So we have to control them. The only debate, I suppose, is how we control them. And there are various ways of doing it.
Well, let's get on to that. Can I introduce our two guests up front tonight, who are both members of the National Trust, but both are opposed to hunting. The first, Lindsay Rogers from the League Against Cruel Sports. Now, we've heard what John has to say, and we are talking about generations of tradition here. Why should we stop it?
I think there's a growing climate in this country that we should stop sports like this. And by the way, I think that's a tortured use of the word. I saw sport last week. I saw the Great Britain Rugby League team beat Australia. That's sport. How anybody can go into work on a Monday, somebody asks, what did you do over the weekend? Well, I and many other people pursued a mammal for up to 12 miles until it was torn to pieces. I just found that incredible. And we are going to hear some incredible things tonight. We're going to hear that hunting is for conservation. I think hunters have done for conservation what Bob did for comedy earlier on.
Oh, no, hang on.
Sorry, Bob. But I really wish that I'd have more respect for you if you just said that you enjoyed it. You didn't come up with these spurious arguments.
Oh, hang on. Let me point out that John is not a fox hunter, as you're talking about.
But he will defend the argument. I would like to establish a TV first tonight, because I've asked this question 3 times on TV and never had it answered. Would you please tell me, if the fox is such a pest, why certain hunts find it necessary to build artificial earths to encourage foxes to breed on the territory? It's just a cynical game.
I think in some instances that probably does occur, and you have an argument. It
would be so easy, though, wouldn't it, to silence Mr. Rogers here and your other opponents by using a mechanical device of some sort, like they do on the track?
Well, as you probably don't know by what you've just said, 50% of the dogs born for track racing won't track because they won't chase the electric lure. So a large number of greyhounds come into coursing and find a profitable way of spending the rest of their lives rather than on the track when they won't chase.
It's a similar argument to the one that fox hunters use. Apparently fox hunters can't jump over a fence on the horse without killing something on the other side. There are alternatives to this, and I'd like to ask a question of Sir Mark, because I've watched a lot of coursing in the last few years, and I'd just like to know why the crowd cheer when the hare's killed. It's like a goal at Anfield. Unfortunately, goals at Anfield are as rare as hares now. But why do they cheer at the kill?
You have to be brief, Sir Mark.
Well, first of all, they don't often, and if they do, it's for a meritorious kill, and they always clap the hare if it gets away, so they have a pretty standard view of it.
Well, you seem to be losing the battle of public opinion here.
156 votes, that's 78% against. Chris, what do you think about that?
Well, I'm not surprised, because all the polls we've had in recent times always come up again with this same result.
Rather than do a piece in the studio, if we went out tomorrow night in Kirkland's in Liverpool, in the Hacienda in Manchester, and asked girls about fur, you'd be laughed out of the place. It's naff, it's crass, it's had its day.
And to claim that these are conservationists, it's a joke. These are doing for conservation what Lionel Blair does for rugby league.